Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We got our hands on a university web programming course, and today we're going to break down that syllabus and turn it into your personal 5-week roadmap for learning how to code.
So what does it really take to build a website from the ground up? I know, it can seem super complicated, right? But trust me, we're going to break it all down into a clear, manageable journey that anyone can follow.
And to do that, we're going to use a really simple analogy that I think you'll love: building a house. It makes everything click, from laying the foundation all the way to putting on that final coat of paint. It's going to make this whole process so much easier to get.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll grab our tools. Then, we'll build the structure with something called HTML, make it look good with CSS, get it working with JavaScript, and then we'll map out how you go from just learning this stuff to being a real builder. All right, let's dive right in. Section 1, your web developer's starter kit. Before any builder can start, you gotta have the right tools in your belt.
So there are really only 3 things you absolutely have to have, and they're all free. First up, Visual Studio Code. It's just the best place to write your code. Then you'll need Google Chrome. Why? Because it has these amazing developer tools built right in for testing and fixing things. And finally, Git and GitHub. Think of this as your project's personal time machine and a free spot to put your website on the internet for everyone to see.
Okay, we've got our tools. Now it's time to actually start building. We're gonna pour the foundation and put up the frame of our house. And in the world of web development, that's HTML.
So what is HTML? Well, it stands for Hypertext Markup Language, but just think of it as the 2x4s and the support beams of your digital house. It's not pretty by itself, but it gives your website its core shape. Literally, every single website you've ever seen is built on top of this stuff.
And every single web page starts with this basic skeleton. You've got the head section, which is all the behind-the-scenes stuff, like setting it up for mobile phones, which is super important. And then you have the body. That's where everything you actually see on the page goes. All the text, images, all of it.
Learning HTML is actually a pretty straightforward path. You start with the basics, right? Things like headings and paragraphs. Then you move on to what we call semantic tags, which are like giving your rooms names. This is the header, this is the main content, and finally, you get into the more advanced stuff, like making sure your site is accessible to everyone and loads super fast. Now, this is a really important concept to get. What's the difference between a div and a section? Well, a div is like a generic cardboard box. You can put whatever you want in it, but it doesn't tell you anything. A section, on the other hand, is like a labeled room. It's a living room or a kitchen. It tells browsers and search engines exactly what that part of your site is all about. It's a game changer for things like search results and accessibility. Okay, so our house has its frame up. It's structurally sound, but let's be honest, it's just a bunch of gray boxes right now. It's time for the fun part, the interior design. And that's where CSS comes in to make everything look amazing. CSS, or Cascading Style Sheets, is what lets you be the interior designer of your website. This is where you pick the paint colors, choose the fonts, decide where the furniture goes. Basically, you control the entire vibe and user experience. It's all about the look and feel.
And these are some of your most basic tools in your designer toolkit. You'll be using these all the time. You've got color for your text, font family to pick your typeface, margin and padding to control all the spacing, and even cool stuff like border radius to get those nice, modern rounded corners.
Arranging all the furniture on a web page used to be a huge pain. But now, modern CSS gives us this incredible superpower called Flexbox. Seriously, with just one line of code, Display Flex, you get this insane amount of control to line things up perfectly. Whether it's your navbar or a gallery of photos, it just works.
Okay, this is absolutely crucial for modern web design, so listen up. You have to design for the smallest screen first. It's called the mobile-first approach. Get it looking perfect on a phone, and then you can worry about making it work for bigger screens, like tablets and desktops. It's non-negotiable these days. All right, our house is built, it's beautifully designed, but nothing works. The lights don't turn on, the water doesn't run. We need to install the utilities, right? The electricity, the plumbing, and that, my friends, is the job of JavaScript.
Yep, JavaScript is the electricity that makes your house interactive. It's the power behind everything from clickable buttons and contact forms to cool animations and fetching live data from the internet. It's what turns your web page from just a static document into a living, breathing application.
So here's a super simple but powerful example of how it works. This little piece of code, add event listener, basically just listens. It waits for the user to do something like click a button.
And when they do, boom, it triggers a function. In this case, it just pops up an alert. This simple idea, listen for an event, then do something, is the foundation of all interactivity on the web. So what are JavaScript superpowers? Well, you can change any of the HTML or styling on the fly. You can react to user actions, like clicks or scrolls. You can check forms to make sure people fill them out right. You can grab new data from a server without ever reloading the page. And you can even save little bits of info right in the user's browser to make their experience more personal. It's incredibly powerful. Okay, let's take a breath. You've got the big three now: HTML for structure, CSS for style, and JavaScript for all the cool interactive stuff. So how do we go from just knowing these things to actually being a builder?
Well, this timeline from the course lays out a fantastic path. You see how it works? You start small, building a basic homepage. Then you level up to a registration form with validation. Then a more complex dashboard. You're constantly building on what you just learned, with each project getting a little more challenging until you're building a whole, complete interactive system. It's the perfect way to learn.
And look at this. This breakdown of the grades from the course says it all. The final exam, the assignments, the practical test, it's all about actually doing the work. It's not about memorizing theory. This just proves that the absolute best, the only way to get good at this, is to roll up your sleeves and build stuff. And here it is, straight from the course lecture. Web programming opens doors. Seize it. And that really is the main takeaway here. Learning to code isn't just a hobby. It's a skill that opens up so many opportunities and gives you the power to build your own ideas.
So there you have it. We've laid out the entire roadmap, from a blank screen to a fully functional, great-looking website. We've given you the blueprint for the house. The only question left is, what are you going to build first?